Hello. Once again, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Living Strong Television Network broadcast. One of the fastest 30 minutes of your life and most exciting 30 minutes of your life is coming towards you right now. Where, once again, I am so thankful to be your host, which is Prophet Scottie Lee Johnson, located again in the beautiful city of Ridgeland, South Carolina, under the leadership of Pastor Josie Bostick. We want to get right into the word here on tonight. And the reason why is because we have been talking about that which gives the ability to deal with the mind. And so I would like to thank each and every one of you that are tuning in once again. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And I ask that you continue to do so. And even as you continue to do so, remember, we appreciate your love, your prayers, and your support. And so we're praying for each and every one of you each and every day, and we want you to make sure that you log in. We want to make sure that you log in to the website and find out about the up and coming events that are taking place even in the near future, and come and be a part of those services. We have been talking about the power of a changed mind. And we're coming out of the book of Romans, chapter number 12, and we're going to pick up where we left off on last night. And the reason why this is so important is because we must understand that the mind is that which is made up of the emotion, it is the feelings, it is the center and the seat of everything. And so we know that the heart, which is the cardia, which is the preliminary muscle, reacts to how the mind thinks or feels. So they are synonymous with one another. You got the lab, and then you got the cardia, which is the heart. And so what God is saying on tonight, it is very important for you to understand how to take a proper checkup from the neck up. And so what this does is that this circumvents everything. Remember in the book of Ephesians, he talks about putting on the helmet of salvation. The reason why he talks about that is because this is very important. Because when your mind is protected, everything about your life then can line up and fall in order. But when your mind have been manipulated, when it's been defeated, deceived, broken, hurt, confused, then the enemy comes in and he toys with that which not even the computers can figure out. Why is it that scientists all over the world can look for life here and life there, and they can, solve this problem and that problem, but the one thing they cannot solve is the working of the mind? Because the greatest computer in the world cannot compare to a human mind. How can it? Humans made them. The same way that God made you and I. So therefore, in Romans chapter number 12, in verse number 1, the Bible declares, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Then the Bible goes on to say something very powerful. And this is what I want to talk about again on tonight. And be not conformed. Now, the reason I want to look at that be not conformed again tonight is because we know that this deals with a very powerful word. And that word is suskamazo. And that word suskamazo means a derivative of something that's very powerful. And it means together with. So when God say, don't be, this word, sukkamasko, he's saying, don't be conformed to a place to where this scheme, sub-scheme, S-U-S-C-H-E, scheme, matzo. So he's saying, don't be conformed to the scheme of the world. So now he's saying, together with. That means with something that is so very important, and that word is fashion. So he's saying now what the world does is sets up a scheme to try to fashion you to make sure that you look like it. But God is saying you're called out, sought out, chosen of God. And on top of that, you must understand that you are the apple of his eye. So now we see that living strong requires a change of mind. But a change of mind cannot have power if that power is conformed to the ideology of everybody else's confirmation in your life. You don't need tick for tack to get an approval based upon who you are, where you come from, and where you're going. The lower you are, the greater you are appreciative. The Bible declares that to whom much is forgiven, much loveth. So the lower you are and where you come from, the greater you are appreciative to life. And you are more thankful than ever before. So he's saying, remember this. This is so important. And the reason why, once again, it means that which is based upon following to conform. So what it does is that the enemy sets up a scheme so that you can be a part of the who's who contest. So everybody follows to conform. And nobody stands out. If faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, then how is God going to see your faith when you're conformed to everybody else's faith? When you find the crowd of people that love worshiping God, that don't mind praising God, and everybody can go unto him for themselves, and not worry about what the crowd thinks, that's the group you need to hook up with. To where everybody just go ahead and say, okay, God, have your way. Not worrying about who's going to judge them. This also means be not conformed. Declares with the semantics or the schematics of this world or the schemes of it that's based upon this age. Because so many things are being released, and he goes on to declare that this is something that you don't do, don't fall into it, because it is essential not to, because it is a fleeting fashion. You know, it's amazing that the way that you looked when you was 15, you don't look the same when you was 30. And the way that you look when you was 30, you don't look the same when you was 45. And you do everything to find the fountain of youth to just reverse it. And you're caught up in this world to where you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to be so young, so beautiful, so attractive, so muscular, so handsome all the days of my life, not knowing that Methuselah is creeping up on you. So in the midst of that, you've got to understand that God is saying, do not allow the conforming of this world to become a fleeting moment in your life to where you miss time and chance. Opportunity is knocking on your door. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? What is that in your heart? It is an idea that God gave you. Not conformed. Watch this. Based upon also fashioning yourselves to them. And not only that, but it deals with undergoing this deep interchange. You see? And so once that confirmation takes place, then there's this deep interchange, which is a false metamorphosis. You're not becoming the butterfly that you're supposed to be. Instead of becoming a butterfly that you're supposed to be, you end up being a grasshopper. Hopping around everywhere, place to place, situation to situation, hoping that you can land somewhere. We're getting to the good part. You notice I'm taking my time tonight, and the reason why is because I want you to understand what it means to have a change in a renewed mind in this day and time. Why? Because this is the power of a changed mind. Now somebody's saying, now you just keep watching. He's going somewhere in a minute. Hold on, don't get bored. You're right. Let the neighbor know. Don't move too quick, because it's going to hit you just right. And when it do, the segment of your life that God intends to cut off, he's going to cut it off so that can't nobody else come across your bridge. The Bible declares, and be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now this is what I want to get into. But be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now you're going to go through your real metamorphosis stage. Remember Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. He was transfigured right before them. He taken up to a high place with him, Peter, James, and John. And they look and go, oh, there, should we make a tabernacle? There's Moses and Elijah. Jesus, no, guys, cool it. I'm just teaching you how to be transformed, transfigured. Anytime you go into a high place, transfiguration must take place in your life. And what God is doing, he's releasing you into a place to where you're now becoming self-sufficient. And be not conformed, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now what we want to do is look at what he means by renewing of your mind. Let's look at that, because this is very important. The renewing of the mind deals with the organ or the mental perception. Oh, now, Prophet Johnson, here we go. Exactly. Because the elasticity that holds you together is not just based upon some horizontal or some perpendicular order that's parallel to man's life, based upon the elimination and the process of that which comes through non-devotion, and that which is of the archives lessens the intelligence of man's meaning to life. No, we're not talking about that. He's talking about the fact that you have a mental perception. So no matter which way it goes, it bends and pulls back together. So now he's saying everything that's working on your emotion, on your mind, he's changing your mindset so that you have the power to know how to live with a changed mind and live strong and go after the things that God have promised you and retrieve for the last 10, the last 7, the last 12, the last 3 years. As far as you and your house, you shall serve the Lord. And the Lord is saying, this is your time for comeback, and this is your time for purpose, and this is the time in which he is rebuilding you. And I want you to know that the Ark of the Covenant is on the inside of you, and the Holy of Holies is coming forth, and you refuse to sit back and be defeated in this day and time. For the weapons of your warfare, they're not carnal, but they're mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold. So this mental perception saying that God has already given you something something that says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And you've got to remember, if God be for you, who can be against you? If you call upon him, he will answer you and show you great and mighty things that you know not of. For the Bible declares that even Moses said that if you don't go up before me, if you don't go up, Abraham began to let him know, if you don't go up, if your presence don't go up, Jacob let him know, Isaac let him know, if you don't go up, if your presence don't go up, I don't go up. Mental perception, who you are. Change the old organ. Too much has been playing the same old music. You done scratched that record. That record been scratched so long until everybody know it. They know your shortcoming. They know your downfalls. They know your pitfalls. They know your eliminations. They know your weaknesses. Don't ever let anyone know all of your weaknesses, for that gives them power over you. And be you transformed by the renewing, which means that which is already new. Oh my God, qualitatively new. Renewing. Behold, all things have become new. Now let me see if I can deal with this and take it 20,000 leagues below the sea. For those that, are really listening and saying, Prophet Johnson, I'm enjoying this. When you received Christ, you became a new creature in Christ. But you continue to struggle free with the cross. So now he said, even though you are a new creature, what I want to do is renew the new. This is why you take that which is classic, which is old, which is rusted out, which everybody else threw in the junkyard, and you restore it. That's your job. Just the same as God restored you and I. This is a restored season. There comes shade. The Lord is saying now, this is a restored season that I give unto each and every one of you that are watching. For I have called you by name, and I have set forth segments of your life that were empty, and I have turned them over into full vases. And he's saying to tell you that even though the floodgates shall come in, the water shall not overflow thee. He said, now I bring you out into a place that is called a wealthy place, for many are determined from this day forward, I shall make it, I shall succeed, I shall accomplish, and I shall become that which God have ordained me to be. Congratulations. If you are listening tonight, you are definitely on fire. And I'm not talking about any kind of fire. I can't get past the first part. Mental perception and apprehension. Not only do you perceive who you are mentally, but you apprehend who you are. This is why you cannot allow the control and the manipulations of others to take place. Once a certain level of control takes place, you give over and you relinquish your ability to become mentally perceptive and to apprehend and to make the proper judgment, because everything about your life is in line with somebody else's decision. There are great leaders all over the place. This does not mean that you don't obey pastors. This does not mean that you don't obey leaders. No, you don't have an excuse to go out and be hard-headed. This makes you even more to understand that now, oh my God, this man is right on time. I am going to fall in with my leadership. I'm going to fall in with my pastor. I am going to support them. And then again, on top of that, I am going to understand that God has given me a certain level of control to know how to be a blessing, to not only that, but to apprehend what is in my life and to control my life, and then on top of that, to be a blessing to somebody else. So if anybody else crosses that line, you tell them, wait a minute, the buck stops right here. I know who I am. I know where I come from. I'm a seed sower. I'm a giver, not a taker. I'm a maker. And guess what? On top of that, I know how to call those things that be not as though they were. So once you do that, God will give you enough time. And what he will do in this time is so powerful until God is saying, I will release something so powerful in time, it will blow your mind. So the segment of your life that was about to be cut off, I want you to know, I hear this word coming tonight. The Father saying to tell you, yea, I say unto thee, my child, yes, the promises are returning. They are coming back. God is saying to tell you that even now, the apprehensions of the enemy that have tried to lock down and bind your family and stop the promises from flowing, God is saying to tell you, I have released you even from his apprehensions and also your family. That's a word for somebody tonight. Oh, you need to think about that. Also, good judgment. He's releasing good judgment. Whoa. I just heard the Lord say somebody's watching, your property value is going up. As of even within the next couple of months, by 20 plus. That's what the zeros behind it. That's good to receive. Not only that, but it deals with that which is of the conscience. And it deals with that which is of the consciousness of a preceding action in recognizing and judging. And not only being able to recognize and judge, but have understanding. So when you have a renewed mind, you have recognizing, you have judgment, you have understanding, you have perception. Everything is coming in. This is the power of a changed mind. The power of a changed mind. Calling those things that be not as though they were. And based upon this, and I love this, nous, that's the word. It means also to be able to have a distinct perception and feeling and moral reflection, which means you're looking at yourself and saying, I feel good about me now. Why? Because it's your time. I heard the Lord say that there's some people that I've never heard this before. How do you explain this? God help me. Some people are at the end of a beginning. Well, explain it to me. Some people are at the end of a beginning, which means the thing that begun in your life, you've gotten to the end of it. But you're at the end of a beginning, which means you not only have graduated, but you had to go to the next class the same day. That means something in your life is non-stop, progressive. I am excited about this. The fastest 30 minutes in broadcast. Coming your way. Living Strong Television Network. The best is yet to come. Look with me. Verse number 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why? Why did God go through all of that? Because he knows that the enemy's trap is to keep you in the same state of mind. Once he can keep you in the same state of mind, chasing the same, oh my God, how many folks are tired of living the same old weekend? You know, there's no outlet. Monday is the same thing. Tuesday, should I go further? The whole week is so programmed. And it's almost like, God, is this all there is to life? Is this it? Do I have anything else to live for? Is my life such a pattern to where this is what I do? And you're sitting back, and it's the same pattern over and over again. I've seen people that stay in the same town, so sad, and die. Never even leave a small town with a population of 3,000. That's worse than Gideon. God is trying to tell you, he did not intend for your life to be some control mechanism in which you cannot see what he is doing that is so brand new. I hurt for the people that cannot come out of the box. And the reason why is because of verse number 2. I can't get past this. The power of a changed mind. A whole new strategy based upon that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Once you get to that point to where you see that your mind is renewed, that's when the proof come in, the good come in, the acceptable come in, the perfect come in, and the will come in. And that means that everything about you now begins to embody itself. And so you begin to shake the dust off of your feet. Make sure that you continue to log in and to watch. Because even as my time is winding up, I would like to say to each and every one of you that is watching, there was a corporate word that God spoke to me today and said, release this word before tonight is over. And that word was this. He said, tell everyone that is watching in 2013 that I have not forgotten about them. Oh, thank you, Lord. When God told me that, I got so excited until I couldn't stand it. I said, Lord, you're telling the people. He said, tell them I hadn't forgotten. You make sure you log on. You make sure you stay in contact with Living Strong Television Network and call in and give your support. where once again we're in Ridgeland, South Carolina, where the pastor is Pastor Josie and Bostick, along with the Whosoever Will Outreach Ministry crew. And I want to thank especially each and every one of you that are saying, Prophet Johnson, keep up the good work. That 30 minutes is working for me, but it just goes too fast. I want to tell you now, we're going to continue next week with the power of a changed mind. Right here, fresh start on Monday night. And I want you to log in to find out about the up and coming events that are taking place. We're going to be live streaming the live services so that you will see the prophetic in action. I pray that you have a chance in time to visit us in person and come to some of the services and be a part of it. Continue to let us know. Log in, write, send your request, and say we thank you for Living Strong Television Network and being a part of an exciting ministry. Hey, that's my time. I would like to thank you for yours. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a good night, each and every one of you.